Best wishes.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's exciting panel discussion. We have esteemed panelists with us today from various sectors and industries. I would like to introduce all the panelists before we start the panel discussion. Our moderator for today's panel discussion, Mr. Khera, Chairperson, FGI Engineering and Core Manufacturing Committee, and the Managing Director at Linkages Private Limited. Mr. Khera graduated in Mechanical Engineering from MS University in Vadodara. Since completing his post-graduation in Manufacturing Management from SPJIMR, Mumbai, he has been Managing Director at Linkages Private Limited and Director at Eclipse Global Private Limited. He has experience of more than 20 years in strategy and development, business development, international business, operations, and systems. He is also founder trustee at C Foundation, which supports projects in educare and healthcare space with a focus on the girl child. Mr. Khera is a non-executive independent director on the board of Alembic Limited. The other panelists in our today's discussion, we have Mr. Sunil Parekh, Senior Strategy Advisor, Zydus Cadila Healthcare Group and Jubilant Bhartia Group. Mr. Parekh is currently working as a senior advisor with two MNCs, Zydus Cadila and Jubilant Bhartia Group. He's also on the board of GNFC Limited and GVFL Limited. He has 45 years of work experience with corporates in India, Africa, and the US. Mr. Parekh's research work on the industrial development of Gujarat has been published by the Oxford University Press and by ORF Foundation. He is the Vice President of the Gujarat Institute of Development Research. He is also a Senate member at IIT Gandhinagar, Governing Council member of IIT and IIT RAM and Ahmedabad Management Association. And he's also on board of several universities and academic bodies. Mr. Pavnesh Sharma, the head QC and process at Banco Aluminium Limited. Mr. Sharma is a versatile professional with strong background in process design, process engineering, and quality management, plant integration, plant automation, process mapping, and improvement in aluminum extrusion industry. He has 9+ years of experience in process engineering, industrial automation, in aluminum extrusion industry, and is currently heading the process and quality at Banco. Mr. Meenu Singhal, the Vice President, Industry Business at Schneider Electric India. Mr. Meenu Singhal is an avid professional having remarkable experience across various sectors, which includes organization services and support management, customers and partner relation, distribution strategy, and sales and marketing. Mr. Singhal is an electrical engineer and along with marketing management from IMT Ghaziabad. He is associated with Schneider Electric as a Vice President for Industry Business. He is responsible for leading industry automation business of Schneider to scale it to newer heights while gaining better customers and partners' satisfaction. He is also responsible for developing market sustainable and profitable growth for the company. The next panelist we have is Mr. Rajan Desai. Mr. Desai is a regular speaker and moderator at various national and international events, imparting his wide knowledge and hands-on experience covering all engineering disciplines. He has about 4 decades of long experience in multiple fields, including product design and development, detail engineering, plant and equipment building, project management, production, operations, sales and marketing, procurement, logistics, etc. He has participated as an executive committee member at CHT, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Under various engineering and channel partnerships, he represents MNCs and niche technology providers from USA and Europe in India. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Rudra Mishra, the Regional Marketing Head, West, Tata Business Services, Tata Tele Business Services. Mr. Rudra Mishra comes with a rich 18 years of experience in manufacturing and telecommunications domain. He is an MBA from University of Pune and is working with Tata Tele since the past 1 year and currently heads the marketing for the West Zone. A dynamic professional with multifaceted experience in diverse functions such as sales, distribution, channel development, brand and marketing across industries. May I request now the President of FGI, Mr. Abhishek Gangwal, to deliver the welcome address, please.
Thank you, Premal. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's discussion on creating a smart MSME. May I start with welcoming all our esteemed panelists today, Mr. Sunil Parekh, the Senior Strategy Advisor at the Zydus Cadila Healthcare Group and the Jubilant Bhartia Group, Mr. Meenu Singhal, Vice President, Industry Business at Schneider Electric India, Mr. Rajan Desai, the Industry 4.0 expert, Mr. Pavnesh Sharma, Head Quality Control and Process, Banco Aluminium Limited, and Mr. Rudra Mishra, Regional Marketing Head, West, Tata Tele Business Services. I also welcome our moderator, Mr. Khera, the Chairperson of the Engineering and Core Manufacturing Committee at FGI and Managing Director of SEE Linkages Private Limited. All the executive and managing committee colleagues, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Federation of Gujarat Industries and all of us here, I'm happy to extend a warm welcome to our panelists who will be sharing their views during today's e-panel discussion on creating a smart MSME. I also welcome and thank Tata Tele Business Services, our esteemed sponsor for today's panel discussion. I also welcome all the participants present today in the webinar. Something about the importance of today's discussion. As you know, significantly micro, small and medium enterprises, also known as the MSMEs, play a very pivotal role in India's economic development by driving employment, exports, and inclusive global opportunities. MSMEs have made sizable contributions to the national and global economy over the decades. However, MSMEs are missing the digital journey by not utilizing the multiple advantages of Industry 4.0. In today's era of automation, MSMEs are steadily surrendering to larger companies as they are confronting major barriers in adopting latest technologies and continuing with their seemingly old world business practices and outdated technologies. With the latest technology adoption, MSMEs can scale up and stay competitive. With this background in mind, FGI has organized this e-panel discussion, which will focus on various topics such as where do the MSMEs lag today and what hinders the technological growth? What is the importance of intelligent automation for MSMEs? What is the necessity of smart communications for MSMEs? And we will also have a case study on practical applications of smart manufacturing. We are fortunate to have with us a panel of eminent personalities in the Industry 4.0 and automation field who will enlighten us on the subject, and I'm sure the participants will greatly benefit from the discussions today. I'll just give a very small brief about the FGI. FGI, the Federation of Gujarat Industries, founded in the year 1918 in the erstwhile Baroda state under the progressive rule of Shriman Sayajirao Gaikwad III, is an apex industries association and a recognized chamber of commerce in Gujarat, having an illustrious track record of more than 104 years in the service of trade and industry. FGI's success over the years is the result of the commendable support of my colleagues in the managing committee, the esteemed FGI members, consultants, and the efficient FGI secretariat. Before I conclude, I would like to reaffirm FGI's commitment to steer the growth of its member industries, and we shall continue working closely with the government for due implementation of policies and initiatives. With these few words, I conclude and invite our moderator of the panel discussion, Mr. Khera, to take over the session. Thank you very much.
May I request Mr. Khera to take over, please?
Thanks, Premal, and thanks, Abhishek. Good morning, rather. So it's good morning to all the participants of this webinar. I think when we started out planning this this whole endeavor, the idea was to probably make it a bit more physical. I think over the last 18 months, the challenge really has been to, today the challenge is how to get rid of the Zoom fatigue. But unfortunately, the different waves of COVID, I think on the side of prudence, we decided that let's still do a digital interaction and at least get some idea about this so-called smart manufacturing that all of us talk about. I have a vested interest here because our company is itself on this journey, starting on this journey, and I felt that we need to learn from each other's experiences. I think as MSMEs, we know we are all constrained by resources, both in terms of availability of the right people, availability of finance. So I think thanks to FGI that they've put this together, and let's see how we can partake of the experience of the eminent panelists here today and then take it forward. Hopefully the outcome will be that at the end of these 2 hours, we will be a little bit smarter about this new whole exercise, which is going on in this world. And as Abhishek said, that MSMEs need to leverage this a bit more to ensure they remain competitive. And I think as we had a pre-discussion on how we want to keep this 2 hours, how we want to do this 2 hours. And I think it would be of more interest and more relevant to all of us if we made it as interactive as possible. So to begin with, I will we will take up a few questions and then we'll go into a case study. I think the case study is the real meat of this whole exercise, because I think we can understand from the practical experiences, and in this case, Banco, what they have gone through. And then, of course, we have the panelists who will be giving their bits of experiences on this journey that they have. To begin with, I think as industry, I think most of us are running industry, and as industry owners or managers, the implementation of Industry 4.0, and there's lots of jargon floating around. So we try to make sure that a lot of us sometimes get lost in too many big jargon words, but let's make sure that we understand exactly what we are discussing today. So the impact of smart manufacturing or Industry 4.0 on the workforce, does it help to cut down? Does it improve productivity? What actual effect does that have on the workforce? Mr. Desai, maybe I can ask you to elaborate a little bit more on this.
Certainly. See, my take is, and I have involved with IoT and this solution since last 6 years or so, that we should not aim to reduction of manpower for this, because this is not only robotics. IoT is not robotics. It is just putting your own data, your own process in a very correct, signified way by which you can improve. And digitalization journey is a step-by journey. So it is not going to do that in 6 months, my lathe machine will start, or 6 months, my hydraulic press will start. This is not like that. It's a continuous process. Of course, there will be a marginal reduction, but while considering ROI, if you're considering that this many manpower will be less, that is not the case. And that should not be the case, because IoT will need the old manpower, old people, all your employees who can help understand and make it work better.
Sure. So I think,
can I also comment and add few words on what Mr. Rajan has said?
Sure.
Mr. Khera. One of the very practical things which we have seen in the industry is the experience and the wealth of knowledge which the employees of the organization they bring in. IoT is a system which will take you forward, but you need your own system, process knowledge, and the understanding of applications, for which it is very important to have a hybrid model in today's industry. We do not suggest that you just go with only millennials or you go with the complete aged workforce. It has to be a combination, the way things will mature. You can't forget and you can't forego the experience of 30, 20, 50 years, 40 years which these people have brought in by working in the same processes. It's very important to carry it forward.
Absolutely. Thank you both for your input. So I think this myth about Industry 4.0 or IoT helping to reduce manpower, I think at the end of the day, we all need to remember that good manpower is critical to the success of any organization. I think, and the knowledge that years of experience bring in is also needed to automate, is also needed to analyze the data, is also needed to take decisions. And ultimately, it's like what you program from basis of your knowledge, and that's what you're going to ultimately partake the benefits of. So thank you both for that. I think that's an important aspect and right way probably to begin. I think the other thing that we typically talk about is, once you want to start on this journey, what is there a timeline? What kind of preparation do you need to do for it? What do your goals or milestones need to be? Mr. Singhal, would you like to just take us through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Khera, because this is a very practical situation, especially for MSMEs, when they have a biggest question where to start with. Is it really going to happen? Is it going to deliver me what you people are telling me? So there are a lot of questions which are in the mind of especially the MSMEs, and that is where the adaptation of IoT in MSMEs today is not to the extent what it should have been, and we are working together to ensure that it happens, and that is what this forum is all about. So first point is to start from where you are. We have to start in small pieces to, first of all, get ourselves convinced as the leader of that organization that yes, whatever I am adopting is delivering me some results. So for the first year, if you like me to say, I would like a small process or a part of the utility to be connected, at least to start collecting the data and then making it available for analysis. That is where we should have some analysis of that data done and look for not only efficiency, but also asset optimization. It's very important because we look at energy as one of the basic areas where we can save. Yes, energy is, but we have realized with the IoT that there is a lot of inefficiency in the usage of assets and in the usage of the logistics and the complete supply chain management. How we can combine these things together and don't start from the entire plant, start from a small area, invest a basic minimum amount, but whenever you're doing it, do it with open technologies so that you're not stuck up for scalability. If you go and get married to one particular protocol, then it becomes a challenge for you to then bring other things together and look at the scalable, especially the low cost ones. So that is where we recommend that, guys, whenever you're looking for investing into IoT, start small. Convince yourself that yes, we are getting the benefit of it. There will be tangible and intangible benefits which will come not only in production but also in maintenance. And when it overall gives you understanding, 1 year is a good amount of time and a sample period when you will see that the cost of production has fallen down by 3%, 5%, and 7%. And then based upon that, take decision to expand it further and further and further. That's how I generally recommend. If anyone would like to comment onto it further, because this is a practical approach which we recommend to our customers.
Pavnesh, would you like to take us a little, because since at Banco you have this experience, maybe you can just elaborate a little bit on the timelines.
Pavnesh has dropped off, I think.
Pavnesh?
I think there's some technical problem at his end. He's not in the meeting right now. Mr. Pavnesh is not in the meeting right now.
And anyway, as an ex-Bancoites, let me substitute him.
Sure.
See, Meenuji very correctly said that we should always go the segment-wise. And this is, if my contemporaries will remember the ISO days, ISO years, when suddenly all the companies started shifting to ISO. Now, those were the stipulated time that in 1 year or in 16 months, we should complete this and then we see how the system works. The IoT, converting digitalization, mapping of your organization is not that kind of time bound. You should, but the only thing I would add what Manuji said, that you start small way, particular 1 or 2 departments, but have a complete holistic view. The bird's eye view should be always there, which may attain at 5 years or 6 years. But in totality, think first and then start stepwise. That could be additional point by me. And for Banco, they have done the production, but in Banco, Aluminium precisely, as it is a single point extrusion process, the benefit was huge. Obviously, Pavnesh will show us. But that may not be the case where your production is linked with many other outsourced material in most of the SMEs.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. I think the next question obviously is, the cost of getting into automation and IoT. I think more than the cost, I think maybe Mr. Parekh can enlighten us if there are any government schemes available where some kind of subsidies or some cross funding is available or not.
Yeah, I was in a position to go through their website and also talk to our respected industries commissioner. There are 2 schemes that people can avail of. One is specifically related to ICT. And these technologies, if you were to get it, then one can get up to 75% of the total capex that is involved, but with a ceiling of 5 lakh of rupees per company. The other one, which is a bigger one, is about technology acquisition. And if you buy a new technology, then you can get 75% of capex. And the ceiling is 50 lakhs of rupees per SME. So what I'll do is I'll just put the link where the detail of these schemes are there. And I have just put it in the chat box, and I hope everyone can see it now. This is the link which will give you the details of the eligibility criteria and how does it actually operate. I hope it answers your question.
Yep. Thanks for that. On that note, I think there was a question as to where would MSMEs be if they don't get into automation? And I think Mr. Parekh, maybe you want to answer that.
If you do not want to go down the route where everyone and all your competitors are going, then I can only suggest that when we have another session like this in about 2 years, you will not be there to attend the program. So it is a must.
Yeah. So I think having said that, having discussed this, I think, of course, it's a means to an end. At the end of the day, all of us want our industries to be profitable, to be sustainable. And the advancements in technology are tools. These are the tools that are available to us. And I think it's how quickly organizations adapt to the new developments, I think that will shape their success in the years to come. I think on that note, having laid a background for the presentations to follow, may I ask Mr. Parekh, I think you have the first slot to make your short presentation if you want to go ahead and do that. So,
first of all, let me begin by thanking FGI, Mr. Abhishek Gangwal, Mr. Sam Khera, Premal, my dear old colleague. And I have very fond memories of FGI over the years, as before even the construction of the new premises and the entire history. And I've had personal friends amongst your office bearers for a very long time. So I am very grateful and feel honored and privileged to be part of this August group today that has a lot of experience. I have prepared a short presentation in this matter with an idea that we should be able to actually appreciate. The whole idea behind today's program is to make you feel comfortable about all the issues that are there in this area, and that you can take a call for yourself whether this is for you or not. So over the next 12 minutes and a short video of 2 minutes, I will try and demonstrate the macro side of it and the context of what we are going to do today. And we have very august panelists who will actually go into the nitty-gritty of the case studies as well as the technologies that actually bring the benefit. The technologies that are available today are IoT, blockchain, automation, digitalization or digitization, artificial intelligence, generating big data and therefore machine learning, the cloud technologies, and social media. These are the new group of technologies that are available. And in order to convert what is regarded as an regular, ordinary, traditional MSME into a smart MSMEs. But let me begin with the first slide, which is what is the context of today's MSME environment. The overall industrial production performance for the Q1 of this year, that is April, May, and June of 2021. And I have compared this with over 2020, which was the pandemic year, and that was the quarter of great lockdowns. And particularly if you want a comparable figure, then you have to look at 2019. And what this clearly shows is the fact that we have today net sales, which was in 2019, 18.29 lakh crores. Then it went down to 13.24 lakh crores. And then it has jumped up again to 18.93 lakh crores. So therefore, there is an overall jump of this by about 3% compared to the first quarter of 2019, first quarter of 2020, and first quarter of 2021. The pandemic year showed that there was a reduction in sales by the industries, and these are the top 3,008 companies that are listed on the stock exchange, and therefore it is almost half of the stock exchange is listed, is calculated here. The reduction is 27% and then 42% increase. But if you compare the absolute figure of the turnover in the first quarter of this year, then it is just 3%. In other words, we have gained back what we had lost during the 2019. In terms of the costs, whether it is cost of raw materials, electricity, employee costs, distribution costs, interest, depreciation, and the amount of taxes that we have paid, they are all up and down depending on each of the sectors. But overall, what has emerged is that the profit after tax, according to the survey of CARE Ratings annual survey, the profitability, which was 1,25,000 crores in the first quarter of these 3,000 companies in 2019, it dropped to 30,000 crores, 31,000 crores in 2020 first quarter, and now has gone to 1,68,000 crores in the first quarter of 2021, a jump of 34%. So this is a remarkable, definitely a remarkable V-shaped recovery, but there is a caveat, and I want to dwell on the caveat because this program is about working with MSMEs. The recovery is complete. It is in fact better. 34% increase in profits with only a 3% increase in turnover clearly shows the cost of production have dramatically reduced, especially commodity prices, interest rates, and so on and so forth. But the recovery that is there is asymmetrical. It is uneven. And therefore, the shape of the recovery is in the form of a K. The top leg of the K has increased and has become normal, in fact, more than normal. And the bottom leg of the K is the one that has actually suffered. And I divided it into three parts, K1, K2, and K3. K1 is what really it brings out is that recovery is not even across various sectors. And I really, shudder to think about this in this way, because companies, MSMEs that are less than 10 crores have, from a turnover of quarterly sales of 7,000 crores, came down to 2,900 crores. And in this quarter, they are just 2,700 crores. So they have taken the huge brunt of the beating. And this is about 1,108 companies out of a total of 3,008. The second category, which is now 10 to 25 crore turnover, they have taken a thrashing from 9,500 crores to 5,000 crores. From 25 to 100 crores, as the company grows bigger in size, the sales turnover, which was 39,000 crore for the quarter in 19, is now 31,000 crores. At least it's in the same league. And as it goes from 100 to 500 crores, the losses are much less. And in 500 crores plus companies, they've actually gained from 16.3 lakh crores to 17.3 lakh crores. And therefore, the K recovery is when size has mattered. The small and the medium scale industries have actually not been able to recover, and only the large ones, which is 500 crore plus category, have done actually much better than what they would have done in 2019. So this is one of the asymmetries of recovery. The second asymmetry of recovery is that the manufacturing sector as a whole has done much better than the service industries. And this is the second asymmetry. And the third and the last asymmetry that I want to share with you is on the left-hand side, there are sectors that are done very badly and they are under the red line. And these include diamond and jewelry, hospitality, aviation. And this is in decreasing order of 2021 over 2019. The drop is 68% in diamond and jewelries, 65% in the first quarter in hospitality, which is hotels and restaurants. The aviation industry, the retail industry is 50% reduction, and it goes down to all the other various sectors. On the right-hand side, however, there are winners. These are all companies that have done exceptionally well, and this is in increasing order. Logistics has improved 1%, and as you go down the product, then you find that IT, chemicals, healthcare at the bottom, and mining have done exceptionally well during this entire sector. And therefore, it clearly shows that even though the overall recovery is a V-shape, there are major differences among sectors, among sizes of companies, and whether you are in manufacturing or in services. Clearly, the winners have been in banking and finance, in the space of IT companies, agricultural sector, which actually grew when the entire economy was down during the pandemic quarter last year, the FMCG sector, the telecom sector, healthcare, and mining are clearly the winners, where they've actually gained not only profitability, but a substantial amount in terms of sales turnover also. So it is an asymmetrical recovery. Many people are still feeling the pinch, and many are actually smiling their way home. Now, coming to the question that was given to me to speak upon, what do SMEs lack? What do SMEs want? The small and medium enterprises in the manufacturing sector, as Mr. Gangwal also mentioned, are being left behind in the fourth industrial revolution that helps companies, MSMEs, to market their support. They require marketing support and they want financing support. These are two issues which have plagued our industry for long. And here the new challenges or the new opportunity for them is social media companies like Google and Facebook are now offering loans to MSMEs in 5 days flat, anything between 5 lakhs to 50 lakhs without a collateral. These are cash flow based loans that are available. And this is a new development in technology companies that are being offered to MSMEs. We launched it only 2 weeks ago in FICCI, and we found that there are a lot many takers for this kind of an opportunity. The other thing that SMEs want is reducing all costs of production, including especially production costs. They want to improve customer service, and they have a problem in hiring affordable talent. And here the technology companies are also offering platforms that give you what is called the gig economy. Freelancers who actually come and do very good amount of work on a project basis, and there is no burden on the MSME to hire them for long, and they can actually do only projects. And all these technologies that are available help SMEs to achieve faster growth and higher profitability. The worrying trend is exacerbating the economic inequality because MSMEs are not able to take the kind of advantages that these technologies involve. And the World Economic Forum says that the benefit of the technological advancements of the fourth industrial revolution, MSMEs will need to overcome a range of challenges. And these challenges are a shortage of affordable skilled employees. Second point that Sam also raised was investing additional capital and its easy availability. The third is once you make an investment, there is an unclear perception of returns on this investment through use of technology. The fourth is a need to revamp the firm's infrastructure and their processes. And this calls for a major culture change when you digitize and apply new technologies. The fifth element of challenge is a need to update information technology and many operational technologies. For example, very few people actually in MSMEs use forecasting or simulation technologies, which are very useful even for small industries. And the last one is to help develop a nascent technology that is currently serving more of larger companies. So the offerings by the vendor companies very often actually gravitate towards large companies, which are complex systems. In a relatively smaller company, the systems are not so complex, but the benefits are still tangible. And MSMEs need to work with the people who are offering services to help modify and tailor make these technologies for themselves and to get a good return on investment. And therefore, the solution I feel lies in raising awareness of emerging technologies, which this platform today is going to do. Second is provide expert support to MSMEs. The third point that the part of the solution is providing financial support to MSMEs, and that the government of Gujarat is doing. There can be a few other schemes from government of India as well. And the last is fostering collaboration and environment for MSMEs to learn. And this can be provided by industry association. FGI has a major role to play, like it did, and like CII and FICCI and Gujarat Chamber did, when they want to usher in the ISO certification. There were consultants who were offering the services, but the legitimacy, the return on investments, and the kind of credibility that the industry association brings on the table for MSMEs is a very important element for the small and medium scale industry to start implementing and share their collaborative experiences with each other. And this is what the role of FGI is very important in these matters. Friends, I also want to reiterate the fact that opportunities in India are looming very large. Seriously, they are very large opportunities. Because we are stuck in what we are doing, we don't see the bigger picture often. Let me cite 6-7 examples of there is going to be exponential growth for the MSMEs. The first is in the manufacturing sector, with the announcement of 13 PLI schemes offering a subsidy of 2 lakh crores. And that means a turnover of almost 16 to 20 times that amount is going to happen in the next 5 to 7 years. And this is going to give a big boost, whether it's in electronics, whether it's in defense, whether it is in production of lots of mobile phones and several other technologies like textiles and food and agro-processing, so on and so forth. The second big advantage that we have is for new companies that we are starting, it's a 15% corporate tax. This is the lowest in the world. Today, we are offering a tax regime which is better than the best in the world, with only 2 or 3 very small countries who don't have big markets offering this kind of tax breaks. We are at a very sweet moment in the history of manufacturing development in the country. The third is, for all its efforts and noise, and EODB has become a reality. Much of our activities is online, and our government interactions are primarily purely on the website. The government e-procurement measure that has been put into place has been such a boon for our startups and MSMEs that it is actually working. You get payments on time and you can participate in tenders very, very simply and very easily. Less than 200 crores worth of tenders today have to be given to MSMEs. They cannot be imported or cannot be taken from large companies. This has opened up something like 60,000 crores. And I would urge Sam and Abhishek Gangwal to actually open out a discussion in FGI on the opportunities that this single provision provides for MSMEs for a range of products. Don't forget, we also have the 4 codes that have been announced in the labor. Our labor reforms have been languishing for over 30 years, starting from the Vajpayee government. And they have now been implemented. Only the final legislation for the date has to be now announced by the various state governments, and it brings it down to just 4 codes. The China Plus One opportunity is estimated at $45 billion in the year 21-22. Lots of inquiries are coming, even to companies in Baroda with whom I am in touch. This is a major area, and this can really help to boost exports of manufactured goods. The second big area is in services, and I will not go through the details of this because there are immense opportunities. Each one of these sectors has been valuated of over $5 billion in the next 3 years, and it's really huge. The third area, which is renewables, where the commitment by the government of India is to put 450 gigawatts of green energy, out of which 150 gigawatts has already been commissioned. And then we have the electric vehicles, and then the entire hydrogen, the new technologies in renewables and wind, solar, hydro, and nuclear. In climate change, which is now the buzzword, the new circular products and green technology products is going to cut across almost every sector of manufacturing and production. The customers are going to be demanding for your carbon footprint before they will buy from you in future. The banks are not going to give you loans if you have a dirty footprint. The rating agencies like CRISIL have already developed ESG rating yardsticks, which they shared about 3 months ago. The SEBI has now made it mandatory for the top 1,000 companies in India to give their ESG reporting as a matter of compulsion. And if they don't comply, then there will be punishments to follow. And the private equity. In other words, customers, your financing agencies, the financing rating agencies, and the stock markets are all going to demand a green product, a circular product, and green technologies. There is another huge opportunity for MSMEs if they can align themselves with startups and innovations. India has created 21 unicorns, and $14 billion has been invested in these 21 unicorns in just this year, from January to July. And this is a huge amount, but MSMEs don't play a role in this, and they need to integrate themselves. There are other areas like defense, about 70,000 crores worth of products have been opened out. Infrastructure spending is on the boost. $100 billion will go into it this year. And they're going to monetization of assets like existing roads, powers, distribution schemes, electricity authorities. All of these are going to be monetized. This money is going to come in and new infrastructure is going to be created. The electrical industry in Baroda particularly is going to see a huge, humongous boost if they align themselves to defense and infra spending. One question that I had in my mind is Baroda a laggard in innovation in filing new patents? It was known for new ideas, new investments and products for so many years, and in generating new employment and tech adoption. And sometimes I wonder what has happened to Baroda from being a leader to now being a follower. And I sometimes even wonder where is the second generation of the people who are creating and taking over from their parents doing in order to bring these kind of new ideas to the fore. And I want to inspire all of you to look at these opportunities and really think afresh and not get stuck into the past at all, where the markets are not as good as the new ones. We talk about Industry 4.0, but Industry 4.1 took place, 2 took place, 3rd took place. Now we are in the 4th, and there is going to be a 5th also. The first Industry 1.0 was when instead of doing things by hand, people started using machines, and that was in the year 1800. The second came in 1900, where electricity and power came and mass scale production started. In the year 2000, we brought in electronics and IT to further automate production. And the 4th industrial revolution, which we are now experiencing, is based on the use of cyber and physical systems. And the 5th one is when the physical digital will combine with the biological to create the 5th revolution, and that is something that we need to wait for. So what are the 10 concrete benefits in my view of adopting the new technologies of AR, VR, AI? First is it increases operational efficiencies. All information is available on demand, and the textile and the chemical industries of Gujarat have adopted this in a big way. The second is better customer relationships and servicing. And the example is that of Volta's AC servicing, which they do remotely, sensing the failure even before it happens for all their customers, all India basis wise. The third is the area of reduction in all kinds of costs, especially as Meenu mentioned, the reduction in energy costs, the reduction in rejections, rework, and reduction in claims. And I have an experience of the foundry industry that I would like to share with you in Ahmedabad, how we have handled this very, very, very urgently. The fourth is in terms of asset reduced downtime. If a machine starts heating up or vibrating before it breaks down, and if this can be sensed, then in the process industry, it can save a substantial amount of downtime, particularly plastics, which is another big area in Baroda for injection molding and use of PPE and LDPE. Fifth is quicker to train people and helps productivity. During the clampdown, when workers left, the pharma industry in Gujarat, and by and large, the large companies actually used AR, VR for training of manpower who were raw and had never entered a pharmaceutical company in a matter of something like 5 weeks. And, working under supervisors, we had to get them to work again because medicine production had to go on continuously. Predictive analysis is a big area, better financial management. And very importantly, as climate change risks are there, there is, this whole process of adopting technology, whether it is for large or small, it helps you to de-risk your entire operations. It makes you feel agile, that is the ability to change. It helps you to build a faster response systems. It makes you resilient. And in cases of pharma industry, we have a lot of compliance requirements, and all these are now automated, and machines can actually help a lot in this. Overall, my experience has been that it has overall improved competitiveness, and it gives peace of mind to the owners and managers of business. It improves the employee productivity, and it leads to higher profitability. In a nutshell, these are the benefits. There are challenges, and I think we will discuss this as we go. Most of us have old machines, and digitization sometimes proves to be very expensive. And sometimes we focus too much on the wrong area, and sometimes we spend too much time on the right area. And therefore, and sometimes there are companies which are forced to pass on the benefits of reduction in cost to customers, especially for exports. So some of the challenges that we have experienced. And these are two other frameworks. And Sam, how am I doing on time? May I continue with this or shall I stop?
I think if you have a couple of minutes if you want to finish.
Okay. So this is a series which is called the Smart Industry Readiness Index. This is a very important step in order for every MSME to decide how ready are they in terms of this whole thing. And therefore, I'll just click on this link and play this video for you. And I hope you like it.
Will transform how products are created, how supply chains are managed, and how value chains are defined. For companies, Industry 4.0 could provide.
I'm not sure, but I'm not able to see the video. So.
And speed to help companies start, scale, and sustain their industry.
Okay, then I think I need to switch it off. I'll do that.
Yeah, video is not playing.
Industry Readiness Index. The index has 3 layers that represent the 3 building blocks of Industry 4.0.
I really have no idea how to stop it now. It is technology.
And organization. Within these 3 building blocks, there are 8 pillars of focus and 16 dimensions. The process. Industry 4.0 can integrate processes across
Premal, can you join and help Mr. Parekh?
and product lifecycle. For technology.
Sunil bhai, bottom ma ek audio.
I got it. Is it better now? Has it gone?
Yeah, the sound is gone, but we are not able to see. I mean, we're just able to see each other right now. So.
Okay, so let me just go with the thing. So the Smart Industry Readiness Index has got 3 pillars. It looks at what are the processes that you have within your own company, broken down into what are your operations, what is your supply chain and product life cycle. In the second pillar, there is what are the technologies you use for automation, connectivity, and intelligence. And in the third pillar, you have what is your organization structure and how do you actually take decisions in the company. And the subsectors for this are talent readiness in your company, and you can assess this yourself. And what is the structure and management that helps you to. And then there are 16 other dimensions which help you to look at your company and see where are your gaps. Once you do this analysis, then it actually helps you in terms of deciding how ready are you in terms of going forward on this. And the last slide that I have is on the Ahmedabad foundry experience. This
we are not able to see the slide, Mr. Parekh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You need to.
Okay. Let me come back to it during the Q&A then.
Yeah, let's do that. So,
So thank you very much, friends. I think this was a broad overview, and there is a lot of technology with my colleagues that is available, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Parekh. I think that really I think you presented the challenges to MSMEs in a very, very lucid manner. And as we all know, challenges bring opportunities. And what we are, I think what we as entrepreneurs understand is that how do we leverage these opportunities? And what we are really looking at is how this pace of digitization, as you can see from one of the slides that Mr. Parekh showed, the pace at which technology is changing is absolutely, has undergone a drastic makeover over the last 200 years since the Industrial Revolution. And from Industry 3.0 to 4.0, it's probably just been about 2 decades as against about 100 years prior to that. And I think going forward as well, the pace at which technology is going to change is going to be extremely fast. And I think the digitization is going to be an enabler. And the faster as MSMEs that we learn to adapt to it, the better. Let's now quickly jump to Pavnesh for the case study on Banco, what they've actually done. I think it will bring alive a lot of the issues and the benefits that a typical process industry has been able to leverage by adopting some of these techniques. So Pavnesh, over to you. You're on mute.
Hello, good morning to all of you. So I'm going to present a live case study, what we have done here in Banco Aluminium, what change we have done. So as Mr. Parekh explained, so nowadays we need to be a little bit smarter. As we need to align ourselves globally. So we should be enough competent in terms of our efficiencies, deliveries, and quality control. So I'm just going to present my slide. So first of all, I would take this opportunity to introduce about the Banco Aluminium before jumping to the case study. So Banco Aluminium, basically aluminium extrusion industries, and this is running since last more than 54 years. So we have 3 extrusion press lines. So what we have done, so what is a smart manufacturing? So smart factories are connected in a network through useful cyber physical production system, which lets factory and manufacturing plants react quickly, such as demand level, stock levels, machine defects, and delays. So as Mr. Parekh explained, what are the benefits if we use a smart manufacturing, smart factory concept? Definitely we can increase productivity, we can increase efficiency, and we can reduce downtimes. In that way, we can increase the availabilities. That will leads to improve your deliveries as well as the quality controls. So by adopting smart manufacturing, so in Banco, we were doing a kind of ERP system. We have it here. So reporting was first, we were entering in a paper, then somebody is just entering the data into this ERP system. This is kind of manual one, and it is time taking for supervisors, for engineers, and all these things. So almost 4 hours per day, and per line it is kind of data entry, and this data, it could be manipulated, as you all know. So by adopting the smart factory concept, we can visualize entire factory online. This is first benefit, and we can increase the efficiency, and we can do the detailed process data analysis without manual intervention. Awareness of monitoring, if we have a data and that is data is visual, so definitely our first focus would be to monitor this. What is this exactly? What is happening in the plant? Then next one is increase in productivity. We saw in our case approximate 100 ton of production, it jumps in 1.5 months. So this we show. So 5 to 15% increase in availability of machines. So if we monitor continuously in real time, we show 5 to 15% of increase in availability time of any machine. This can be there. Avoiding data manipulation at soft loss. So we can avoid completely the data manipulation. So if your supervisors, engineers, manpower, if they, okay, you know practically if system are manuals and all these things, so people can enter manually, wrong timing, wrong data. So we can completely stop this, and we can access this from home. So in COVID scenario, so we can reduce the workforce. We can give work from home to some engineers, managers. They can work from home. They can access the entire factory by their mobiles, by their laptops. And better quality controls. So while we do monitor in real time. So there will be a quality control in a better way. I will explain you how we are doing that. Earlier, our downtime reporting, I'm just showing you an example. This was the downtime reporting earlier in ERP system. So it is the example of January 2021 to Feb 2021. So this was our daily parameters reporting. What parameters are we used during our production. So this kind of manual data we were using, and this data, it is uploaded to ERP manually. Then what we have started here, we brings this smart factory concept, and this we have divided in two phases. Phase one is real-time cycle monitoring and extrusion recipe data. So real-time monitoring is nothing, it is just a cycle monitoring of each job. You can say each billet or each job, it is cycle monitoring. And extrusion recipe, it is just a product recipe. As you know, recipe is kind of data, then how you prepare food and all these things. So this is kind of data how you produce product. And in this phase one we have completed, and we have divided the phase two, rejection data monitoring till packing. This we are in the development. So I hope we will complete this by end of March. So we will be complete the phase two also. So we would be the entire factory we can be visualized. So our concept is we are taking the signals from machines, from PLC, and we are giving this data to SQL, and the same we have connected from ERP, and this can be connected from SAP also. We are taking this from ERP and we are sending to a OPC server, and then we process this in clouds. So there we are doing our calculations, production, planning, scheduling, and this kind of calculation we are doing in clouds, and we are sending directly to press. So there we can read from machines and we can write to machines also. You know, well, IoTs. So our main focus area were IoTs. We have changed many things. We have put it new sensors and all these things to make it done. So smart manufacturing solution. So we have developed this software with the help of our IT team or with one of this external consultant also. Real-time data monitoring. We are measuring each and every seconds what we are doing in factory. This we are monitoring live. Streaming architectures. So this we have well defined what we have to do and how we are going to connect. So this we have done smart quality control. We have defined each cycles set of parameters. This we have defined. In this way we can do much better quality assurance that our product, it will be within a quality of specs. And we have eliminated several activities, and we have mapped our process within our factories. I will just show you how our architect is here. So this is basically a operator control is here, and here we have a recipe data. This is product recipe. Here we have machines. We are taking signals from machines and we are writing the same to the machine also. I'm just elaborate. So we are monitoring cycle in real time. If it is 1, then it is up, it is ready. When once the signal it is 0, then it is start downtime. So this is only the concept. So what we are doing here, we have defined the process cycle logic. What is process cycle? So if you see this gray line, this is the cycle duration. So if one job is finished, then it will start this another one. Then our signal it goes down to 0. Then if we have defined a certain time, then if this will exceed up to this time, then your downtime it will be start. Then this will be shown in red color. Then operator has to choose the downtime region if this is the case. If it is not, then it will start another job. So this we call standard dead cycle. And we have done one more thing also. We have defined parameters, kind of speed, timing. If this cycle, it will take little bit longer than what we have defined, then this will show in red color. If this will finish within a time, then this will show green color. Acknowledgement of downtime. So as I told that what if cycle, it will extend whatever we have defined the time, then operator has to choose what was the reason. Suppose what we have done, we have given 1 to 30 second, it is dead cycle time, and 30 second to 1 minute, we have given a short time event. If any intervention in during this process cycle, so within a 30 second to 1 minute, it will automatically count short event. And if this downtime, it will take longer from 1 minute, then they have to choose downtime reason. This is mandatory. You can see this is an operator screen. So we have order numbers and jobs and all these things. And if downtime is there, then they have to choose the region. This is just operator screen. What there is an order management. What we are doing, we are taking the orders from ERP, and we are taking the data, how many pieces we have to produce, what is the length as per customer. Then we are calculating according to our calculation, and so all these orders, whatever it is released by planning, this is coming to this order pool, and we have given this access to our operator supervisor to choose the order number, job number from this order pool to production queue. So he can choose 5 queue, and according to queue, he will start his production. So this will change automatically. Once this order is finished, then it will be the next one. So it kind of a queue. So, and everything kind of process parameters and all these things, timing and all these things, no need to enter a single thing. Only except he has to only acknowledge the downtime. You see, it's kind of a recipe, we call recipes kind of product data. What is product and what is the machine name, what is the alloy, and what is speed, and all these things. This kind of data we have freeze there, and we have option here write to PLC. We can write this data directly to PLC without any intervention of operator or any other. So we can write directly to PLC. Yeah, there is an example of real-time monitoring. So I will show you what is this exactly. You can see if I click over here, so you can see this order, it is ongoing. So we have given the productivity of 1156 kg per hour, but actually it is running 1308 kg per hour. That means we are gaining. So this we can monitor in real time. I'm just showing you an example also. We have defined something else, but we are not achieving that, and this color it will show red. So this we can monitor live. This is doesn't matter where we are, we can be access this from home, from any other location. And even though we can monitor all the parameters, and these parameters, it is live recorded with graph. We can, if I want to see from last 3 years, so I can click and I can check what was the region at that particular product, particular time. So I can get to know this. So this will help us to draw the root cause. So this is one of the major things. And this is our downtime analysis on a single click. What was happened yesterday? What was happened last month? I just going to select the date and I just single click, and we can analyze and we can visualize where we have to focus. If you have visualized data, it's very easy to focus and work. So if you want to go in detail downtime analysis also, you can go in detail also. You will get all this data in seconds also. So now our reporting and all these things, it is completely changed. So our production reports, it is like automatic data it is capturing from machine. So there is no manual manipulation, no manual intervention. So just we can select which parameters we need to take, we can take in this report. I'm just showing to you the example how we can customize our dashboard for monitoring, and we can analyze the energy also. We can monitor our gas in each cycle, whether it is going up or not. In this way, we can optimize our costs. So achievement to Banco. This is important because as I'm presenting this case study, what we have done in last 3 months, we have started this project since May to till 15th of June. We have finished configuration. Then we have started monitoring. So I'm showing you just example. Our rated capacity, it is 1,500 metric ton per month. So with 3 press lines. After phase 1 successfully completion of real-time monitoring at 2 press lines, still we have adopted this in 2 press lines. In July month, we have achieved this 1,600 metric ton. Net gain is approximate 100 metric ton, which is 6.6% of total volume. if I'm just elaborate this in cost wise, though, this would be add approximately 4.5 crores. So phase 1 system integration timing, so it took May 1st to June 15th. So what we are doing here in now, we don't have manual intervention. People cannot manipulate the data. We can see the data visualize anytime from anywhere. We have better quality control by fixing product recipe. So we fix the product data and we have better quality control because it is proven that from these parameters, these products run in this way. So we have freeze that and we write directly to PLC. In phase 2, it is under development, expected to finish April 2022. In this way, what we are doing, we are increasing the, we are enhancing the skills of our man forces. You can say we are developing new skills to our operators, supervisors, by training them. So this kind of screen we have given to operator, they have to just select the orders and select the downtime. Rest other things, it is auto capturing. There is another thing what we have achieved. So if I go monthly machine availability hours before and after. So one press line we have 1800 we call it. So first availability time it was 649 hours. So after implementing this, it was 674 hours in a month. In another press line, our availability hours was 600 hours, and after implementing this, and we gain this 24 hours, and we reach up to 626 hours. So if you can say net 4% of availability time we gain within a 1.5 months. That's it from my side. If you have any questions and all these things, you can ask. I'm happily to respond. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, FCI team. Thank you to all participants and elite panelists.
Thank you, Pavnesh. Thank you, Pavnesh. I think very elaborate and very, I think, distinguished, very well put together. I think a lot of information on that presentation. Banco has also agreed, and this we can decide subsequently, for a visit to their plant in case there are people interested to actually go and have a look. Banco has also agreed to do that, and we will coordinate that visit subsequently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if anybody has any questions, you can keep them ready and we can take those during the question and answer session, which will follow. I now ask Mr. Meenu Singhal to take us through this importance of the automation process for MSMEs and share his perspective on that. Thank you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, very much.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And you rightly said, Pavnesh ji has actually shown the real case study, which talks about what we think we should be doing is already happening there. And very right and practical approach being taken, which is covering not only one, but all the aspects of Industry 4.0 and automation in terms of helping improve productivity, the machine uptime, when we talk about asset optimization, when we talk about the maintenance, quality, all these factors are very well taken care by what case study has been shown by Pavnesh. So he has made my life pretty very simple in terms of how I'm going to take up my next around 7 to 8 minutes now. I will try to see I complete in 7 to 8 minutes because a lot has been said by Mr. Pavnesh. I will not repeat on those things. Very well said. And absolutely the proof of concept is there. We would encourage anyone from the attendees to go and visit and see what is happening there. So when we look at the Industry 4.0 value drivers, these are all the value drivers which Pavnesh has talked about, whether it is resources, processes, asset, labor, inventory, quality, supply chain, time to market, services, after sales support, and every of this has an ability to give you a return on investment. So I go back to the first question, which we started the discussion with, that what should we do in the first year and how we should take an approach of the automation being implemented and the Industry 4.0 being implemented in MSMEs. This is where we begin with. Look at the areas. Identify which are those areas which are of your concern in terms of the priority, and choose one area to start doing your proof of concept with. It can be with maintenance, it can be with machine uptimes, it can be with forecasting accuracy, logistics, quality, or anywhere, and start implementing your process improvement plans with Industry 4.0 and data analytics. How to do that? We have to understand what are the technologies which will enable you to do that. We can do resource planning, we can do processes, assets, and to do this, the first thing which you need is connected devices. Where to start with? So first of all, now onwards, at least when you go forward and make a purchase, either it is a MCC or a panel or whatever products you are purchasing, whether it is a drive or any kind of electrical, mechanical asset which you are buying for your organization, try to ask a question: is this connected? Is this going to give me some data of consumption, of patterns, of whatever is flowing through it? If not, then the next question is, can I make it connected? These two things will really help you to start planning for future. These will be small investments, because any capital investment which you're doing today, you're actually investing it for future. It's not for 1 year or 2 years. It is at least having a life of 15, 20 years, at least that you're going to go with. And the scenarios have changed like anything with Internet of Things, everything getting connected. So please do not compromise upon the ability of the products to be connected for your organization. And I would say not even organization, also for your home. When you buy a switch, try to see whether it can talk to Alexas, whether it can give you a complete home automation connectivity when you are looking forward for it, and may it be ACs or may it be anything else. So this is one area where we would certainly like that you should start thinking about, and eventually it is going to turn around in one thing at the end, which is money, money and money. As the owner, as the leader of the organization, what you're looking forward for is a profitable growth. You are going to get profitability increase, and has been very well shown by Pavnesh ji also. He has shown in the very discrete examples of machine uptime increased by 4%, the quality standards improving, the requirement of labor coming down and manual getting to automated system. These are actual benefits which you're going to get. And we will see that the efficiency of the same assets. So you can produce more with less. That is one important thing. You can have your machines and people being more safe against any kind of hazards. You can have your data being protected. Your performances will increase, as well as the transformation of the entire quality and the processes which you are doing can be better, because it is a data which is stored, which will help you in optimize your own quality standards, your own production capabilities, to help you plan better. So when you have the data, then you put the edge control devices. And when you're talking about the edge control devices, these edge control devices are the PLCs or the DCS, which Pavnesh also talked about. Get them connected. Get them to be more independent of people. Get them start talking to your servers. When they start talking to your server, that is where the OT and the IT meets together. And when OT and IT meets together, you get the ability of compilation of historical data. You are able to have your patterns being recognized, as well as the warnings, especially I'm talking about maintenance now, can be given, about your forecast planning can be given, about your quality standards can be given. So when you have the data and the ability to analyze it, you start getting the informed decision-making ability generated within you, as the management of the organization. Here we have taken a small example where we are talking about the maintenance, and we have seen, again, Pavnesh talked about it, so I will not speak much about the benefits in terms of the tangible, but yes, we are able to increase the uptime as well as the savings for you when the downtime cost comes down. The total life cycle cost is going to come down. The condition-based maintenance will replace the static time-based maintenance. The dynamic time-based maintenance will replace the approach of reactive maintenance, and reactive will come down to a very small one. While we talk about the machine uptime as a tangible improvement, but the cost of machine uptime is actually very high, because in case your machine is available for 4% more or 5% more, then the ability to produce more is much more higher. Your profits are much more higher, and your overall effectiveness of the organization is going to increase. Remote monitoring and control, this is very important in today's time of COVID and post-COVID as we go in the next few months, that we would be looking forward, and all our customers, all MSMEs and the organizations are looking forward for minimum intervention of people for processes which do not need actual presence of people there. May it be FATs at the remote areas, may it be maintaining the machines in the remote cycles or in the remote area where the temperatures are different, where the conditions are hygienic or a mix of hygienic and unhygienic conditions, where the transportations are not easy to go. We can have those things controlled by a very strong control algorithm and mechanism. We call them advisor services. They can get connected, and you will have the entire know-how of what is happening in the machine there by be sitting in your own office and have an understanding, not an understanding, but also control what you want to do as operations. And that is where the augmented reality comes in between. So, augmented reality gives you the ability to use your own iPads and visualize your own panel, which is there at a remote area, by sitting in your head office. And then you can see what is happening in that panel. You can change the parameters and completely have an understanding of not only what is the situation, but what you want to do also from this. So the technology is moving high. We are moving from the artificial intelligence, virtual, to augmented realities now. So virtual realities, augmented realities, they have become the present. They are not the future. And we are going to move from predictive to prescriptive based manufacturing, as well as the maintenance side as we invest into it. These are not very high investments. Investments are pretty small, but the return of investments are combination very strong when we get in terms of maintenance savings, quality managements, overall equipment availability, they go high. And Pavnesh ne to bataya hi hai ki how much they have saved. I will give examples of some smart factories which we have created for Schneider itself. In India, we have 28 factories. So we have already gone for making them smarter. The Hyderabad factory, which is our showcase, we saved 16% overall in first year. In second year, we saved 7%. And in third year, we are saving 4%. So it is not a one-time saving which you're getting. It's a continuous improvement which you're getting. 16% saving in a year means my return of investment was almost 1 year. That is what has happened. And now whatever we are getting is benefit out of it. We invested the smart factory concept to many of our customers, and the savings have been either in the touching double digit or double digits, which they're getting overall for manufacturing same goods of same quality going to the market with the same time. So these are the different kind of benefits we see when we get into the approach where the combination of capital expenditure, the machines which you're buying, the OPEX specifically when you're investing in terms of the subscription-based models, in terms of the advisory services, analytical capabilities, you don't need to have them on your own. You can certainly subcontract something to small startups. And this is a possibility which is existing. And this gives you improved energy usage, improved profitability at the end. And you will find all the elements again, which Pavnesh has talked about, where they have been saving. And now the models are shifting from CapEx to OPEX, that you can lease some services, you can buy some products, but at the end, whatever you are taking, it is recommended that you ensure that these products which you are taking are connected. They have the ability to talk. And when they talk, they are going to start generating data. This data, depending upon the services and the cloud which you're choosing, should be secured. And cybersecurity is a key role, no compromises upon it, because it is your proprietary data which is coming from your shop floor, which is giving the output as compared to what you want, and you have to secure it. Move it forward, and I look forward for the opportunities where the blockchains will be coming in the next couple of years, or maybe not be couple of years, by early next year in manufacturing, and the trust of data will start increasing by using the blockchain technologies as compared to where we are today. So there is a strong transmission and a transformation which is happening in digital technologies. Adopt it, and as we adopt it faster, we will be the front runners. We would like India to shine, and we would like India to be real Atmanirbhar by doing our best, by doing more what we are doing. So this is a small presentation which I want to talk about. I didn't go in details because a lot has been shared by Mr. Pavnesh. Didn't want to repeat that again. With this, thank you very much. Open for questions at the end.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Singhal. I think that was very, very informative. I think I'm going to ask Mr. From Tata Tele, Mr. Rudra Mishra is here, and he will shortly take us through some of the issues which we also face while attending Zoom calls. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but my link went down 3 times over the last, I think, an hour or so. Of course, so I'm going to call Mr. Mishra to talk about the necessity of smart communication for MSMEs. He's from Tata Tele.
A very good afternoon to you. Just wanted to check if my screen is visible. I'm sharing it.
Yes.
Yes.
It is visible?
Yes.
Perfect.
I'll make it full screen, sir.
Yeah.
It's better now.
Yeah.
So, Sam, sir, just to answer that question, your link went down 3 times. Probably you need to check with the current operator. There are bandwidth issues, there are infra issues, but gradually, the industry is recovering, and I'm sure we'll be up ahead in the coming time. So, sir, I think so. A lot of talk has happened around Industry 4.0. What is the readiness? There were interesting concepts that are shared that are going to come in future. I just want to, probably have a current status. Probably highlight some aspects that where do we stand currently. So while we are saying that we are ready, there are things that are happening. India at present, you see, is ranked 91 at the 91st step globally on the Industry 4.0 readiness. Now this is something that we really need to look at, maybe evaluate ourselves as to a lot of talk that happens, but how much of it gets implemented. And how much of it actually goes on down to the ground level. So that's point 1 for us to ponder. Now, just elaborating a little bit on the current scenario. So let us first evaluate where do we stand. Now, when we look at the current scenario, in our present manufacturing setups, we've got completely high dependence on humans. And humans may be partly trained, untrained, and the efficiency levels are low. Now, this is while I'm comparing it to a machine. So there I think was a point that we need to ponder on. Second is a very important point to which I think so in the pandemic time, everyone is looking at very, very critically is the top line, the bottom line. And there are very high costs of manufacturing presently in India as compared to digital driven manufacturing, which partly is being adopted in Europe and in the world economy. The third and a very important point is somehow, while pandemic has at least expedited the uptake of technology, especially at the MSME, SME levels, there is a sort of an inertia towards change, and the adaptability levels are low. So, and while I say this, I also say this with a lot of pride that I see this inertia going down and people becoming more and more open to new concepts, new ideas that have been enumerated by previous speakers. The fourth point is, again, it is a skill dependent point because we are highly dependent on humans. We need skill set, and skill set is not always very efficient. There are manpower issues. So somewhere we need to strike a balance between people and automation. There is the fourth point. And the fifth point is while pandemic has really accelerated the uptake of technology at various levels, still we are at maybe at a lower level compared. And if you segment it, enterprise wise, large enterprise, big organizations, more open to such ideas have been adopting. Medium and small still really need to look, because they are the future and they need to understand to compete in a very stiff market. There has to be something that differentiates you. And the only differentiator that you can get at this point of time is, I feel, how fast you can adapt innovative technologies and innovative ideas. So that's going to be the differential. Coming to what are the driving forces and what are the barriers? Now, when I say this, esteemed panelists and the people who are listening to this webinar, awareness of emerging technologies is the biggest barrier. Now, when I say that there is inertia, trust me, sirs, I would just in a moment share with you an example of a dairy farm in Pune. So while a tech company adopts technology, it is understood. There's a dairy farm in Pune that adopted IoT as a technology with similar number of assets. So assets in their case being cows and buffaloes, have doubled their milk production in this pandemic phase. Now, imagine, the kind of ROI they're able to generate, where others are struggling with the logistics, supply chain, and the effort on the market. These people have already gone and doubled their production with a similar set of assets by simply using an IoT technology. I will not get into details. I'll just leave it there. The third and a relevant barrier is funds to scale up businesses. I think so there, SMEs, MSMEs, the manufacturing segment is really looking through the lens. They are trying to understand what is the money, what is the ROI. Everything is being looked at with a very sharp perspective. But yes, with the pandemic, there has been impact on the availability of funds in the market, which is impacting the uptake.
Mr. Mishra, just wanted to interrupt to inform you that the slide is not visible. If you can share it again.
I have been sharing it.
No, I confirm.
So I am sharing the screen. I am sharing the digitization. I am clicked on the share side. Is it visible now, sirs?
Yes,
it is. Yes.
Okay. Is it visible now? Yeah, it's now. Because I was not able to see. So, sir, it's visible now, right?
Yeah.
The fourth point is, I think so, there needs to be, while we are in a pandemic phase, we also need to look at our short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. That, let's say, where in next 3 to 4 years we see the readiness with respect to our industry 4.0 goals, right? So there needs to be a very strong long-term vision, a long-term view by the owners, by the industry, by the leaders, that they want to reach to XYZ goal in so and so time. That's why, and that's how we will be able to upscale from 91 to maybe top 10. While the talk is big, the execution at the ground, I'm sorry to say, sirs, is not that visible. Then again, I think so, where we really need to scale up is a resilient IT infrastructure, like what Mr. Singhal just said, that IT security, the data is on-premise, off-premise, it's on cloud. There are multiple machines that are interacting. There are multiple touch points. Data is moving from factory to maybe an on-premise to maybe an off-premise segment, and then there is issues. So we need to have a robust IT infrastructure. By infrastructure, I not only mean the data centers, the servers, but I also mean cloud and other aspects of IT which need us to move ahead. So this is one overview that I wanted to give on Industry 4.0 readiness. Now, just talking and maybe taking 2 minutes on how last 18 months have changed the way we've looked. So while there was some inertia, now it has been open to digital collaboration. Multiple examples have been given by previous panelists. We are looking at a digital supply chain model, which is going to really help the entire economy, both in terms of efficiency, in terms of profitability, and with help of IoT devices, we can track assets, we can track fuel consumption, we can track route, and it is giving very huge amount of efficiency. Automation in manufacturing process, this is something that has been talked about. IoT-driven inventory and fleet management solutions is something that is actually helping the supply chain to improve their overall ROI and bottom line, top line and bottom line. Just let me quickly run you through a case study. Let's say how a manufacturing unit uses an ICT technology to scale up business opportunities. Now, I am giving in general the technologies that are available. So let's say we've had a lot of talk around, that data will flow from here to there. There'll be a firewall. Everything is dependent on telecom infrastructure, right? So right from this webinar being hosted on Zoom is also connected through telecom infra. Whether it is an IoT device that is being powered by SIM cards will need a telecom infra. And this entire thing is being supported by telecom infra. So now here I would just like to run through quickly the business challenges that were faced by a automotive manufacturing unit. The first challenge that they had was they were looking at reliable high performance data connectivity. The second was they wanted to track the raw material and finished goods. So they needed some view of the asset management and with the fleet management. They were also looking at having a secured and a reliable connectivity for their sales offices, their dealers, their distributors. And they were looking at a high-speed international connectivity with an international HQ. So the headquarters were not located in India, the headquarters were in Europe. And that's how they wanted to connect with Europe using a very, very high level of good speed international connectivity. They wanted to have a service level agreement on voice connectivity solutions with respect to plant operations and sales offices. So at Tata, we look at a SLA driven model where we've got service level agreements. And of course, a customer contact center for looking at the responses that are coming from customers. What we did at Tata, we bundled the solutions basis the customer need, and we gave them a high performance, dedicated, reliable, and SLA backed up internet lease time. Now, when it is a lease line, it's a dedicated bandwidth, it's a dedicated pipe. So issues like uptime, downtime don't exist. The pipe is dedicated and it helps to ensure good and reliable speeds at all point of times. For the issue of tracking raw material and finished goods, we were able to give them an IoT solution where they were able to fleet track, they were able to track their workforce, they were able to track their fuel sensors, they were able to track their temperature sensors, which in turn gave them a very high level of efficiency. Now, the second challenge that they had was that they wanted to connect multiple offices. They wanted to connect multiple dealers, distributors. We gave them there's a solution called SD-WAN, which actually helps to interconnect with multiple dealers, distributors, and of course, with their global data center, which we called as MPLS. So this is again a telecom offering, which helps to give you large scale connectivity with ensuring what Mr. Singhal said, that the data has to be secured. And of course, we gave them a voice connectivity based solution for their SLA driven challenges where they wanted a customer contact center. They wanted to check who are calling, what are the sales, what are the inquiries, and how they will be able to track all the customers who are calling them, and how eventually they'll be able to connect with customers with effective mechanisms. So this was a small solution that we gave them. Now, this is an international global manufacturing giant, a very well-known name in automotive brand, which we are working with, and have been very, very happy with our services. And this has actually helped them improve their business operations. So this is just a small case study that I thought that I'll share. Now, quickly coming to, the industry paradigm. So,
Mishra, I'll need to ask you to wind up in the next 2 minutes because we have another speaker sorted after you.
Yeah. I hope I'm on time, sir, because
we are already running late, but anyway, just you can take a couple of minutes and finish.
So then I think so, sir. I'll just maybe then I'll put this. I wanted to share. I think so. I had 20 minutes. I have taken 10 minutes. Nonetheless, sir, I will just close it with this slide, right? Now, having said that, we really need to now look at leveraging IoT capabilities to actually unlock operational efficiencies. IoT is not a big thing now. Small industries have started adopting IoT and they have started seeing the benefit. Classic example, a fleet tracking mechanism. Classic example, a dairy farm. These people have actually benefited. Cloud computing models are helping people to save a lot on OPEX, where we have had examples where the OPEX cost was in crores, and when it went to a subscription model, it came down to a few thousand per month. So there again is a lot of opportunity for people to think. Then there is something called as, and we all are aware that AI enabling automation and predictive analysis will help us again to look closely as to where we stand as of now, and improve our efficiencies. So these are, and of course, machine learning as we move ahead would be an important paradigm in industry 4.0. With this, sir, I would like to just close, although I wanted to present some more slides, but given the fact that we are running short on time, I would take a pause here.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra.
Yeah.
I think so. We got a good idea of the kind of challenges in terms of the infrastructure that are needs that are there to scale to kind of. So I would now, I think there are, what are the IoT-enabled smart manufacturing, the issues for MSMEs? I think Mr. Rajan Desai, who is an Industry 4.0 expert, I will ask him to share his insights, and we'll probably have time for a few question answers after that. So thank you.
Thank you for being a part of very interesting discussion, and thank you FGI for taking this platform up to this level. And as we discussed before the event, let this momentum we take forward even after the event also. So I was very interestingly observing all the questions being put live during the other presentation, because my role was a little later. So I cannot change the slide now at this level, but I can certainly change my script to cover those answers from the same slides. Let me try that. So whenever we come across any new project, or whenever we go to any new company, the first question comes to us is how easy it will be. So let me say it will be pretty easy, because any smart factory can have very easily necessary functions, can be carried out at a low cost. There are many options available. It can be operated very simple way to start with, and certainly you can get your return on investment. There is nothing, darne ki koi zarurat nahi hai. It is very simple. And being a Gujarati, and all non-Gujaratis, those who are in Gujarati also became Gujju. So first question comes that what is about my net profit margin? So let me put it in a very simple way, that the yellow pie everyone is interested in. If yellow pie is not increasing, why should I do all this headache? So certainly with the correct IoT solution, you can reduce your overheads as well as your cost of your goods sold. So that is certainly possible. So now, another very common question comes to us is, what is there for me? So I just put MSME into me. So first of all, you can get why this platform is so important, because there is no standard. I see the question, the area of question, because there is no standard. There are no IAS, there are no popular acceptable standard. That's why this kind of platform is very essential. Another lacuna, another question is which technology to use and for what application. Can there be different technologies for different application department in the same factory? Yes, of course. Another point is how difficult to choose the partner. The right partner can make your digital transformation very simple and smooth. The solution also, they can make it very flexible. And you always will have, any SME will have pressure from both the ends. That is from vendors as well as clients, that why don't you go digital? With this, if you plan properly, you will not find any problem. And if you don't, you can always feel that lot of money spent and never spent enough. Another point is solace, I would say, that during the whole process, whatever the result you get through digital, before that, you will start getting your complete operation organized, because while designing this IoT solution, you unknowingly integrate the siloed operations, which results into a easy control and work of your organization in totality. While working with a few projects with Honeywell, this one slide has impressed me a lot, which says, of course, Sunil ji and Mr. Singhal corrected it very well, but this is as simple that this is nothing but a collaboration between operations, engineering, and the management blessings, of course, with more blessing from maintenance, because the asset availability is at the core and how IoT can improve that. So in simple, all the probes can capture the real-time data. There was a question that we don't need data. No, this data is nothing, but data is information. It's a simple information at SME. Now, those data covered by the probe are given to the organized for asset-based. Now here, all data may not be correct. So data should be cleansed. You should select the correct data that is missing earlier to discuss about. And finally, you can apply this analytics with your required algorithm to the connected processes. And the most important here is to decide your KPI. These are not a cut and paste solution. So a key performer indicator you need to define of your own organization. Another myth is, oh, Industry 4 is simply a dashboard. Everything get on my laptop or on my mobile. No, it is much more than dashboarding. First, it depends who creates your dashboard. Secondly, whether dashboards are purpose specific or it dumps you useless data. That all depends how better you define your KPIs. All my experience, I would put that there are 6 simple criteria without going into more number or detail. The first, as I said earlier during the answer, that though you may start department-wise or segment-wise, but your idea, your complete blueprint should be ready at the enterprise level. And then only you start your Industry 4.0 outlook. Now we are talking a lot about manufacturing. Pavnesh also talked a lot about manufacturing. But the other side, the operations which are not performed on your shop floor or your plant are also equally important. We talked a lot about process, asset, people. But the fourth dimension I would like to add is a dynamic analysis of operations. And here, your chartered accountant can help. This is an out-of-box idea, but believe me, internal audit continuous can ensure that you are not going off track with your digitalized journey. I have few basic outline case studies on 5 main core engineering discipline and a few other fields. So again, in Honeywell terminology, it's very simple. The enterprise level, how your first blueprint you can define your process, understand if any correction required, please do it. Define your process on the floor, outside floor, and take your assets together as well as your people together, combine all these 4 and create your enterprise level basic view, but without forgetting the cybersecurity, which was not touched earlier. Cybersecurity is a very, very important aspect. I'm not frightening you, but don't miss this. So what I was talking about operations which are not on shop floor, first is the logistic, the supply chain. While improving manufacture, you should not be away from supply chain, logistic, inventory. Inventory is money. Always consider inventory as a money. Please include your ERP, SAP to your IoT solution. It is very easy to link that because you have a confidence in your ERP if you do not have SAP at SME. Cost system, financial reporting also can be clubbed with this, and review mechanism is the most important. I'll talk later in detail. We talked in detail about process, asset, people, which is very obvious. This is the 3 main pillars for IoT solution. But inventory management, I would like to emphasize a lot that please include your inventory management from day 1, whatever department you start with. The costing, the most of my experience over last 5-6 years about IoT Industry 4.0 solution, at SME level, costing is not scientifically done because there is no data available. Take this opportunity and improve your costing system. You can save 5, 10, even 12, 13% merely through improving your cost system with factual data. Financial reporting comes, oh, wo to CFO dekhega. No, that should be clubbed. Maybe not the number, but at least the indices can be put. And review mechanism, put your chartered accountant firm that have internal audit, not at the end of the fiscal year, but throughout the year, and they convey that whether you are going off target or not for your digital journey. This is a very good idea. We have done this with KC Mehta and company very successfully at many SMEs in Vadodara. Now coming to core engineering, let me start with the least expected. Now civil, no one can imagine how civil and IoT can come. We did 2 big mega projects, and the challenge at mega projects where they were getting delayed was quantification of work done and not able to prepare the RA bill, the running account bill. Now that not only for their running account bill depends on the outsourced material. So there were lots many lacuna, no synchronization, where outsourced RA bill can come in time and your RA bill can go to the government or whoever is going to pay you money. So money delayed, work delayed, equipment remain underutilized. All we bridge the gap on real-time basis through IoT on civil. Another aspect is metallurgy. No one thinks that metallurgy can really contribute a lot, and it is more than corrosion, like failure investigation, risk-based root cause analysis, fitness for service, mainly for process and chemical industry. This is very important. Like this TCR advanced AIOM tool I have used for 3 companies, and they have improved the predictive and preventive maintenance tremendously. And actually with the integrity of operation window, that when this particular equipment would be available at what time. Now electrical, I always hear when we start talking electrical, oh, it's simple. Power factor, improve power factor, and take the data from energy meter, and we can be through. No, please include whenever you on electrical map, your electric motor. Transformer can speak a lot about you. Switch gear, everything you can merge together. You can have copper losses as one of the indicator. You can have load pattern. You can have individual phase current analysis. You have phase current imbalance. And nowadays harmonics is also important, because when you bring your power from solar or any alternate energy, the harmonics from DC to AC needs to be given in such a way that all your machines don't get hiccup. Chemical engineering, most of the SME and pharmaceutical and chemical companies, they work on batch type. Now for the batch type process, we have developed at Honeywell a golden batch concept, which takes, whether you have a data historian or you have a PLC, it takes the processing batches, store data, evaluate data, ask you what is your criteria, define a golden batch, and replicate golden batch easily, taking care of all other variable parameter. It could be weather or any variable parameter, still you get your golden batch. If your IoT with all these probes you might have managed to do for that particular batches. The mechanical looks simple, but it is more challenging. The mechanical product, what I'm talking about. And here also, mainly the sales department fails in providing quotes in a correct time to the client, or bid or the tender bidding in the correct time. So what we started with the labor cost, we put the complete fabrication process, added the labor cost, then made the sales inquiry to product design to generate client accurate quotes. Of course, it will be manually rechecked, but that saved a lot of time, and chances of winning the quote or winning the order has improved. Then we went to the soft floor for making GA drawing to bill of material, to inventory, to production planning and control. Of course, without forgetting quality control and improvement. And obviously asset performance, reducing downtime are the byproduct of all these successes. Having said this, these are, apart from engineering, if we talk out of box project.
Mr. Desai, if you can just if you can wind in the next couple of minutes.
30 seconds. Now 25. Projects management is one thing where you can control your time better. Supply chain logistic, IoT can give you real in-depth analysis. In recent oxygen crisis, before 2 months, we applied this to hospitals and measured the medical parameter and controlled oxygen so better to mitigate oxygen requirement crisis and predict the quantitative requirement of oxygen. The travel, hotel, retail, entertainment, these are the incoming field which will be merged into SME or not, but they will need IoT. 26 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry to.
I understand. I understand. Thank you.
So I think we have actually overshot some of the time that we had set aside, but we wanted to do this a bit more thoroughly. If there are any questions from the participants, we can take those now quickly before we summarize. I'm just going through some of the questions on chat. I'm just trying to see which of those were not covered during the 4 presentations. And maybe we can just have a look at that. I think more or less everything seems to have been covered. I think at the outset, when we started off, I think what I tried to say was that maybe at the end of the 2 hours, we probably are a little bit more smarter in terms of what we know about IoT and manufacturing 4.0 and all that. I think let me just refine that a little bit. If we have questions now after those 2 hours, I think it has probably opened some windows in our mind in this quest to understand a little bit more about technology and how that can facilitate and support our business activities. I think as captured by all the participants, ultimately as business owners, the holistic view is extremely important. Obviously, profitability is a key issue, but I would like to add that business sustainability is equally important. And I think at times sacrificing short-term profitability to ensure a long-term sustainability is probably, as a business owner and manager, those are some of the decisions you need to take. Obviously, in the context of the changing scenarios, I don't think 2 years ago, the kind of push towards digitization was happening the way it has picked up in the last 18 months. We've all realized that we need to think differently about how we want to conduct our businesses and what are the different techniques. I think this whole COVID business has really opened our eyes. And also, I think, given us an insight into the opportunities that technology can bring to us to make sure that our businesses can thrive. I can maybe quickly ask each of the panelists take 1 minute each and just share their views as a kind of a sum up on this. Mr. Parekh, you want to go first?
Well, for me, it was a very rewarding experience having listened to Rudra, from the angle of telecom and industry, because normally IoT and the support that he's giving. I enjoyed Pavnesh's actual hands-on experience of deriving, tangible benefits. Meenu Singhal has given a wonderful overall perspective of the 5 asset classes that actually gain, and therefore the overall, and Rajan, your hands-on experience of actually working in several areas. I wish there was another 10 minutes for you. It was a wonderful experience. And Sam, thank you so much for coordinating this, anchoring this, and making sure that the best came out in the kind of constraints of time. But I have learned a lot. I feel much more comfortable, and I'm sure a lot of people who have attended it are also very comfortable with what this whole technology is about. What does it involve? What is the kind of money and what is the kind of returns, and what are the things that you need to be careful of? And therefore, this journey towards digitization and use of technology, I think, is becoming easier. And to the point that Rajan and Sam, we had discussed earlier, if FGI can take this forward, then it will be a great asset. Thank you so much for having organized this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parekh. Mr. Singhal?
Yeah, I would just like to echo with what Mr. Parekh has said, absolutely in the same lines. And it will be good to see some initiatives taken up by FGI as well as some MSMEs, as the people who are attending here, to take first a step to move forward. And that is where the beginning is. So let's start it from where we can now. That's it. Pretty interesting sessions and good one.
Thank you. Mr. Pavnesh? You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity to present me the live case study from Banco. I would like to invite all the panelists. You can come to Banco and you can see the live case study. So in phase 2, we will finish by end of this April 2020. I think this is very good opportunity that all these small SMEs can also start, because this will not costing so much investment. Hardly you can say 500 euro per month approximately. This will be costing in real time data monitoring and factory visualization. Hardly. So thank you so much for this, and that's it from me.
Thank you. Mr. Mishra?
Sir, first of all, it is a pleasure for me to be with such esteemed industry leaders. So the kind of knowledge, the kind of experience, the kind of wisdom that was shared by them is immense. And I really, with very humble, my namaskarams and my salute to their knowledge, their wisdom. Now, having said that, one thing I would also request is that we as panelists and people who've been attending this seminar need to imbibe this wisdom and carry forward it into their day-to-day working, So in Bhagavad Gita, the last shloka is Yat Patho Dhanodhara Yat Yogeshwara Sri Krishna Tat Shir Vijay Bhutir Nitir Matir Mama. So this means that, while there's Lord Krishna with a lot of wisdom, there's someone like Arjun also who's actually executing his wisdom. So by grace of God, we've got such esteemed panelists who've given us great wisdom. Now it is up to the Arjunas to actually make it operational. So that's where I really would like to thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra. Mr. Desai?
As Sunil said, that we moderator or speaker also learn during each event. Today, I learned mainly the voice and voice modulation, what Meenu bring it. It was fantastic. And the way Sunilji talked to Industrial Commissioner in first half an hour before the event and ready with the data, marvelous. So we do have such a good context. So take this platform, and as Rajesh sir suggested, which we discussed, touched upon, that we can take it to the incubation center or a center of excellence that is a need of an hour. And Banco brought, see, we all talk academic, but Banco's the case study made a real difference. I would like to add one thing on the previous question on taxes and what Sunilji brought all figure about loan and subsidies. Please keep check the depreciation rates, because what I'm seeing, the BJP government since last many years, they want to give, they don't give necessarily everything in subsidy, but they increase the depreciation rate for IoT and all. So I suggest, please tell your chartered accountant to keep an eye and modify your work accordingly. That's all. Thank you very much, Premal, for making this. And Khera ji, ये बहुत difficult था moderate करना. It was simple नहीं था. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the attendees also. Thank you.
I feel bad that I had to interrupt at times.
No. We understand. I do many times at your place too.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks a lot, everyone. Before I get Premal in to give the formal Thanksgiving, I think an important outcome of this needs to be a follow-up and a establishment of some kind of I'm not sure what to call it, whether it's an incubation center or some kind of an experience sharing platform. And I do hope, and I will also recommend to FGI, the EC, to take this up. In the meantime, thank you all the participants, the panelists for being part of these 2 hours today. And I hope you go back with a lot more questions than you came in. I think that if that was so, probably the purpose of these 2 hours was well served. Premal, you want to take up from there?
Thank you. Our esteemed panelists, Mr. Sunil Parekh, the Senior Strategy Advisor at Zydus Cadila Healthcare Group and Jubilant Bhartia Group, Mr. Meenu Singhal, Vice President, Industry Business, Schneider Electric India, Mr. Rajan Desai, the Industry 4.0 expert and a veteran, Mr. Pavan Sharma, Head QC and Process, Banco Aluminium, Mr. Rudra Mishra, Regional Marketing Head West, Tata Tele Business Services. Our beloved moderator, Mr. Khera, Chairperson, Engineering and Core Manufacturing Committee of FGI, and the Managing Director at Linkages Private Limited. The FGI Executive and Managing Committee members, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I indeed have the proud privilege to propose a hearty vote of thanks on behalf of FGI to our esteemed panelists for their informative inputs and presentations during the panel discussion today. I especially thank our moderator, Mr. Khera, for moderating this discussion in a very streamlined manner and for taking up and resolving the queries of the participants. I also thank the participants for making this panel discussion interactive and sharing their thoughts as well. I'm sure the participants will immensely stand to benefit from the enriched knowledge, experience, and expertise shared by all the esteemed panelists. We wish all the participants all the best in their endeavors and hope that the discussions today will enlighten our MSMEs to adopt latest technologies and upgrade themselves. I also thank Tata Tele Business Services for sponsoring today's panel discussion. Special thank you to the entire FGI Core Engineering and Core Manufacturing Committee members, Mr. Rustam Patel, Mr. Kush Patel, Mr. Rajesh Shah, Mr. Premraj Kashyap, and Mr. Asgari Lokhandwala to conceptualize this webinar under the chairmanship of Mr. Khera. I thank you once again for the participation, and may I now request everyone to rise above for the national anthem, please.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमालय यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining today and hope to see you all very soon.
Thank you all. And I think we will take up, I think this whole idea of a center. I will discuss with the EC and I hope that we can interact again on these issues shortly. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.